2016, and I am in Budapest, Hungary. Just across the street you will see a 24-hour pub. It's a pretty harmless place. It gets kind of busy on Fridays and Saturday nights, but you know, it's fairly harmless. Just typically just Hungarian kids gather there to meet friends, talk, play darts, listen to music, drink a beer, a couple of beers, you know, just spend the evening and go home. And you will see on the other side of the street, you will see another 24-hour pub. Same story. Now, as you can see, I mean, there's really no security right now in either of those pubs, and there's really, you know, usually no security. At least nowadays, because particularly this, well, first this pub over here, and then this pub over there, became hangouts of the migrants, the hundreds of thousands of migrants who came here into Budapest. Now, I don't know what religion these guys were. Maybe they were Muslims, maybe they were not. But you know, all I can tell you is that, you know, these guys would be first over there and then over there, 24 hours a day, just drinking, and that's all they would do. You know, they would take full advantage of the fact that these are 24-hour pubs. So you would see them at, you came here at 7 in the evening, they would be there. You came here at 3 in the morning, they would still be there. You would get, you would come here at 10 in the morning the next day, they would still be here. That's what they would do. Both of those places had to hire security when these migrants started coming in, because the harassment of the local girls just became out of control. So first, the migrants were kicked out of that pub over there and made to feel unwelcome because of their behavior, and then this other place itself hired security to just specifically to deal with them and their behavior towards the indigenous woman. So there you have it. That is the new Europe for you. I mean, you know, that's there are no problems anymore here in Hungary, because all of these people were essentially kicked out, and you know, now they're the problem of Angela Merkel, well, of Germany, you know, thanks to Angela Merkel, and of Scandinavian countries. You know, obviously, you know, you had the Kelowna tax, but you know, that just scratches the surface as large scale as these attacks were. You know, we're talking about over 1,000 criminal complaints, over 600 of which involved sexual assault in one night. But be that as it may, you know, you have the same problems in the swimming pool, etc., etc., etc. And why am I bringing this up? Well, because I just happened to I watched this video today, which was published by ISIS, and it was a video that featured the attackers of Paris, you know, the team, the ISIS team that massacred over 130 infidels in Paris, France. And you know, these guys, they made it through the migrant trail, courtesy of Angela Merkel. into Europe and into Paris, and you know, a lot of these guys, even though they were active in Syria, they were originally from Europe, from prior waves of migrants, and because thanks to Angela Merkel, Europe has essentially no border controls with Syria. These guys were able to just waltz in. Now watch this video trying to understand the mentality of these guys. And you know, they talk to the camera. They behead a couple, more than a couple of so-called apostates. You know, Muslim guys. I mean, I guess that Christians are now scarce in the meat market of ISIS, and so you have to settle for less delicious flavors to for beheading subjects such as Muslims who just misbehave. And so, you know, you have a couple of beheadings, and then these guys, you know, they talk into the camera and they explain their ideology. And I'm just listening because, you know, I have a receptive mind. I want to understand these people. I want to understand the mentality. And what I saw was this amazing sense of entitlement. I mean, this fury of these guys. You know, you can tell that, you know, they're like frothing with rage. I mean, they're exploding with rage. And, you know, that rage is just frustration. Just frustration because they are entitled. They should have something. They're not getting something, and so by Allah, they deserve what they're not getting, and they're going to get it. And if they have to chop off a couple of heads to get it, they're going to do so. And the infidels are going to respect them, etc., etc., etc. So, you know, you can think of it as you know, as these guys having truncated or frustrated masculinity. Now, you can think of it that way, and that is at least partially accurate. But of course, you know, there's more to it. Because it's that frustrated masculinity is overlaid by this religious ideology, which kind of like, you know, explains it, justifies it. You know, these guys have certain psychology, and because they have this certain psychology, then Islam just happens to lend itself marvelously to this psychology. So if you read the Quran, you know, as I said in one of my prior videos, it's basically a rape novel, from rape porn novel. You know, that's what it is. And so the Quran tells you that if you, it's the mentality of a criminal. If you see something that you want and you cannot have it, by Allah, you deserve it, you should have it, and you should use the sword to get it. So, if your neighbor is an infidel, then you are entitled to tax him. In other words, you are entitled to extract compensation from him, or reparations. I guess you could call them reparations for, you know, whatever injury he may have committed against you. And you are entitled to it. And if you do not receive those taxes, then you have a right, a God-given right. Allah says it's okay. Allah says you should do it. To do what they do in Syria, which is basically, you know, just chop off the head of that infidel. And if that infidel has a woman in his life, then you're also entitled to just take those women. So, if you are an Arab in Cologne and you see a good-looking blonde girl, a young girl, then you're entitled to do whatever you want. You know, if you want to stick your hands in her underwear, even though you've never even met the girl, you're entitled to do that. You're entitled to turn her your sex slave and keep her in a basement. Basically. I mean, that's Islam, you know, but then, you know, you can think, well, my God, I mean, this religion is just tailor-made for the personalities of some of people who are, males who are particularly predisposed to masculinity complexes, inferiority complexes, who cannot handle frustration, who cannot handle not getting what they want. And you know, that's what I saw in that video. I saw some very, very angry guys who have all this pent-up desire that just keeps getting frustrated. Now, in other cultures, if you cannot get what you want, you will try harder. You will try to overcome your challenges. If you don't have money, you'll try to educate yourself until you have a good job so that you can get some money, for example. But that's not the mentality of these guys. The mentality of these guys is that you have it, I want it, I take it. And if I have to commit acts of barbarity, acts of great violence, I'm still gonna do it. I mean, it is just this rage that is propelled by a sense of entitlement that, you know, you see in the behavior of these guys towards the women of Europe. Just this sense of complete entitlement. I am here, you're there, you have something that I want, I will take it. And it's the mentality of a criminal. And that's a problem with Islam. The problem with Islam is that it is an ideology that is driven by the lowest elements of society. It's an ideology that is, you know, it's a very masculine ideology. But it is such a masculine ideology that the only way to effectively counter Islam is through fascism. I mean, you know, I hate to put it that way, but that seems to be the only answer, because that's the other extremist ideology in the Western world, you know, which has the brutality that can counteract or act as a counterweight to the brutality of Islam. Because the Muslims are getting exactly what they want. They have a massive demographic growth rate. So if you think we're having problems now, imagine what problems our children, our grandchildren are going to face. They're winning the demographic war. And they're doing it through the repression of their own women. And turning their women into, you know, baby factories for Islam. In which I suppose they're, you know, more than willing participants. But it should be an interesting few years, because all the political correct bullshit that we in the West have been taught since day one is just falling by the wayside. Take care, guys.